Hi everyone, this is Sylvia Guzman with Earth Products. We are a soil regenerative remediation product, and we're here today to talk to the inventor of our product, Mr. Lance Taylor. I'm a distributor of Ag Turf products, and Mr. Taylor is the inventor of Ag Turf. And so we'd like to get some information from him about Ag Turf products, how they work. And along with him is Mr. J.W. Sebesta, who is also with Ag Turf and has been using the product for numerous years. So we can see today firsthand how this product works and what it can do to help you in your soil remediation process. So, gentlemen, thank you for being here today. Lance and JW, can you tell us a little bit about how your product works?
Simply works because it has a special blend of microbes and enzymes, unlike other products on the market. They simply work with the soil. The soil already has microbes and enzymes in it, and it replenishes the soil microbes that have been depleted by different chemicals over a period of time.
And what types of industries is that? Can you use this product in? How many different?
You use it, of course, in the ag industry, the ranching industry, the septic cleaning industry, septic systems for the country people, pond cleaner, oil remediation, golf courses.
Wow, that's a lot. That's a lot. So it works on, you have a variety of products.
We have 7 products, and each one does a specific thing. They're all economic. They're all the same price per gallon. We do that to simplify the usage for the distributor.
And is the product easily available?
It's really easily available. All you have to do is ask us how much you need, and it'll be there in 72 to 4 days max, depending if it's in the U.S., of course. We do sell overseas. We do have some distributors in Canada, Nigeria, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay. And what is all in your product line? What all do you carry in your product line?
Well, again, we have 48X, which is the product that has the minerals, nutrients, and vitamins. 21 that are naturally extracted through a fermentation process that we have patent pending. We're never going to patent it because you got to give it away in 25 years. But each product is simply designed for what it's needed for. The turf industry needs something that will take care of the salt. The ag industry, salt, disease, insects. Of course, the oil industry needs something to break down all the spills, and that's the product we have.
And are your products safe?
They're all natural. They're all organic. They've all been laboratory tested by food grade. In fact, we were told that they're safer than the can on the shelf in a grocery store.
Oh, so food grade safety.
Food grade
That's
safety.
Awesome. So what are the costs? What's the cost range of the products?
Cost range is solely depending on the volume that you purchase per time, but it'll run anywhere from $15 to $20, say, per acre, depending on the need.
Is that based on the soil?
That's based on soil. Based on the soil and based also on a soil analysis, taking a soil test. We need to know what's in the soil before we can
so you analyze it.
We're going to build a program around what the soil actually has, not generically just put it out because the co-ops in the countries use that.
You do that soil testing yourself?
We do too. We send one off and then we do one independently, and they have to match up 95% or they're done again at no charge to the owner.
What's that cost range?
It runs anywhere from $15 to $100 depending on what you're looking for per test.
Okay. And what's the turnaround time on that?
That's anywhere from 3 to 10 days.
Okay. And how is your product made?
Well, that's of course proprietary. We would never give you that, but it is through like I say, a fermentation process that over many years that I developed. Each product goes through that process, and again, it's safe. That was the key thing. Economic.
So the EPA likes it too. Then
They love it. That's how I got into other countries, because of its safety.
Okay, that's great. All right, so how easily available is it to get in the United States? I mean, what's your turnaround?
Well, like I say, 3 days, 4 days max. We ship things into Minnesota. It takes 4 days to get there.
And that's after you get your soil testing.
We ship a lot, but prior to soil testing. Okay. We don't wait for the soil test because we may miss the window of planting.
Okay.
We want to help the farmer. We know pretty much what he probably needs based on research, so we don't have to worry about, what does he really need?
Well, how do you figure out how much do you need per acre? How does that work?
Well, we start out basically with a quart to 2 quart standard if there's no soil test. If it's a soil test, 9 times out of 10, unless there's something like disease, insect problems, cultural practices, what kind of farmer, what kind of rancher, what kind of golf course superintendent, what are they doing? Are they doing too much? Are they neglecting? Is it a budget issue? We try to work around that.
So how often do they have to use the products, or is there an average?
It's kind of like feeding a baby. Does a baby eat every day? Every several hours? You need to use the product on a consistent. It's a formula, consistent basis, and it blends well with fertilizers, herbicides, fungicides, which are no other product like this that people say they know of. There's no other product like ours. It's all plant-based material. Most products on the market are manure-based, petri dish, or laboratory, and they have a very short shelf life.
And how many products do you have in your?
There's 7.
7?
Right.
What all are they for?
Well, there's Soil 48X. There's Soil 48EP. EP stands for environmental product. We have Turf 48X and Turf 48EP. We have septic cleaner. We have RON, which is our oil remediation product. And we have a pond cleaner, which is kind of part of the septic. We have a flyaway solution product that takes care of flies, gnats, mosquitoes, grasshoppers, Bermuda mites, crickets, all naturally, all safe, one-time kill, breaks the life cycle, and helps the farmer, rancher save a lot of money.
Yeah, that's important to me because I'm also a beekeeper, so I want to make sure we protect our bees.
Well, the reason it doesn't hurt any of the pollinated insects is because they have multiple membrane wings. All the insects that I just described have a single membrane wing, and that's what the product does, dissolves it.
And so it's organic.
It's all organic.
Okay. And how fast can our customers see the results of? Anywhere
from 24 to 72 hours as far as most products. As
Wow.
far as if they took a soil test or if it's an insect problem or disease problem like fusarium blight on watermelons, cantaloupes on the leaf, you'll see it in 72 hours.
Wow, that's impressive. So, JW, you've used this product for how long now?
I've been using it since the year 2012 on row crops in Burleson County on cotton, corn, and grain sorghum.
So you've been using it in the agricultural industry.
Yes, and also for hay production and pasture production, native pasture.
But you have some background in the oil and gas industry as well. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. I worked 23 years from 1981 to 2003 in the oil industry in Central Texas for 3 different companies, Getty Oil, Texaco, and Apache Corporation.
And so you would recommend this product as well for what different purposes in the oil industry?
For the oil industry, it's great if you have a spill for cleanup purposes, it's great for that, but it can also be used preventively around pumping units, compressor skids, that's used for gas lift around the production wells, and also the tank batteries that have the separators and the heater treaters and the oil and water tanks. I would probably recommend that we spray that down. If you go the preventative route around these areas, probably once every 6 months, with a nursery tank with water and the product in it to it'll start immediately. If you ever have any spills, it will start immediately working on any type of oil or saltwater spill or even a chemical spill.
So it's good for brine water as well then?
Yes, it is.
Okay, and what's your timeline on something like that? Do you have an idea of how it would, I mean, if you've got I guess it would depend on the size of the retention pond?
Yes, I'm going to let Mr. Taylor take that question.
Well, it depends on the size, the depth, how many. For every for every acre foot, you have to figure, say, 10 feet, and it's an acre. That's 10 acres that you really are treating. Each foot is an acre.
So you treat you would test the water like you would test the soil?
Well, we know 90% of what the soil and the water have. We have to find that little hidden element, like does it have fluoride in it? Is it high in chlorides, high in boron, arsenic, all the things that are heavy metals. But it's a simple process as far as JW said, as far as the preventive and the continued cleanup. But as far as the water itself, when you're talking about salt water, to be reusable back at an abandoned well or wherever, or if you want to put it out on a farm, there's a process through a tank system that we designed that allows it, by the time it's comes out of the ground till it gets to the farmer, it's usable
On the crops?
On the crops.
That's awesome.
And it also will help flush the salt, because many times spills into a farmer's place, regardless of what you do.
Oh,
it just happens.
Right.
So it's a quick cleanup in the soil.
Go ahead.
Oh, and another benefit to treating this salt water and getting your salt taken out of that water, of course, is for the companies that want to conserve water. You can use it for refracs on neighboring wells. If it's economic enough to pipe it to your neighboring wells, most cases it is, instead of pumping it out of surface groundwater, which is in short supply in certain areas.
And having to transport. Oh, that's cost-effective. That's really cost-effective. Okay, so how fast would someone see results, did you say? It depends on
what your objective is. If you're just looking to break down and flush the salts out so that you can pass standards, that can be done in 90 days. If you're looking for it to go to the cropland or to a rancher's property, you're looking at 120 to 180 days, but it's still usable.
Very impressive. So, bottom line, how much would this be per acre?
All the products are the same. It depends on the amount purchased. That's the key. And how much do you need? What is the objective? Long term. It's not a quick silver bullet. It's a shiny gray bullet, but it's not a silver bullet.
Right.
You have to have good cultural practices, whether it be in the oil industry, farming, or ranching. What are the people doing?
So it's a whole new paradigm shift about how to treat your soil and your water.
It is, because, my father said years ago, and I'm an 8th generation farmer, that water would be the big battleground in America one day. And it is. That's what states fight over right now.
We are here.
And counties.
That's right.
While we're on the subject of saltwater remediation, we've heard from our friends out in West Texas that are using using this in saltwater pivot systems that it's really helping on their maintenance of their pivot irrigation systems. It's keeping their pivots real clean from salt buildup, which is huge for those guys.
Oh, that's interesting.
And it cuts their expense tremendously on repairs and maintenance.
Interesting. Okay, so so how is it? Is it easy to apply?
It's very simple. JW?
Well, it's real easy to apply. You can apply it through a boom sprayer on pastures and or on broadcast farmland, or you can side dress it in beside your crops when you're putting out your liquid synthetic fertilizers, or you can use it when you're planting as a pop-up fertilizer in furrow, which is a great time to put a portion of it, if not all of it, can be put up when you're planting row crops with what they call pop-up fertilizer. It gives it a real boost. It increases its germination speed, and it'll get your crop up and growing faster and healthier. And as it grows, it's going to increase your Brix level in these crops tremendously, where you should almost eliminate most, if not all, of your insect problems. I've been growing cotton for 8 years, and I hadn't sprayed for insects in my cotton in 8 years. So it's working for me real well where I'm growing cotton.
That's impressive. Wow. So does your product mix with other blends of other products, and how often do you see that there's a need to do that?
Well, unlike most products, some may be out there, maybe in China, I don't know. But like most products, it will mix with any fungicide, any herbicide, any fertilizer. What we always say is jar test first, which means you put the product in there with that chemical, leave it overnight, like we've always done on the farm, and the next day, if it gels, you know that herbicide, fungicide, or fertilizer was tainted. It's not the product.
Ah, interesting.
It's the chemical.
Okay, yeah. So we may not get good product from other sources.
May not.
Okay.
But the product itself, like say, for example, 48 EP going on prior to planting cotton, and you're wanting to get rid of, say, morning glory, and you're mixing it with your herbicide. If a herbicide is bad, just using that example, or been stored or kept too long because of heat, cold weather, temperature changes, it'll gel on you, which trying to go through a pivot or a boom sprayer, or even if you were trying to do it through just spraying your fence lines.
Yeah, that'd be problematic.
Big problem. It's the end of your equipment.
Well, what is the shelf life of
Well, we're
AgTurf
told
products?
that we have to say 2 years, but I know it lasts longer, but I'm not here to prove that. What I'm here to say is that all products basically are told 2 years. But here's my question. If somebody says, well, that's not long enough, well, why did you buy it?
Right.
If you're not going to use it.
Good answer. Right,
So-
exactly.
So
Your crops need it faster than 2 years.
should not be in there more than 6 months at any one time.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, of course. So how many products did you say? 7 products
7.
in your product line. And how does your natural organic oil solution work?
Well, it's real simple, and this is going to sound too simple. When you apply the product, the oil remediation product, or salt water, or any chemicals, you apply it. As far as example of oil, it turns it into CO2 and water. 2 safe products.
Okay. That's so, and so it's
And I think CO2 is used by plants.
last time, and maybe we have something to do with that too.
Yeah.
Well, what is that? So how much water do you mix with the product?
Well, the minimum would be 4 to 5 gallons if you can put per gallon of product. If you can use more, great. If you're, say, crop dusting, they're going to use anywhere from 3 to 4 gallons. It still works. The water's only there to distribute it more evenly
Okay.
on the field or around an oil,
So when you get your soil tested, does that come with a recipe from y'all about?
Well, I
how
design
much?
a program based on that. And, the soil test doesn't lie. There it is. And that's the reason we use an independent company, is so people don't say, well, that's what you said.
Mm-hmm.
So, but when you have both, then I know they also did it correctly.
Great. Okay. And
I've only redone in 12 years, I've only redone 2 tests. That's how accurate they
Wow.
are. And I know how accurate I am because I do the same thing. I used to run the soil lab at the university.
that brings me to another question. So tell us a little bit about your background.
Well, I'm an 8th generation farmer, glutton for punishment. I love it. I love the soil. Got my degrees all at Texas A&M University, all in soil science, agronomy.
So you've got your heart is right there with the.
Right there in the pulse of it, yeah.
That's great. Okay. And how did you happen to come up with this product?
Well, it was real simple. My dad, in his latter years, and I was getting ready to take over the farm. He didn't know it, but my mom told me, you're getting ready to take over the farm. He said, if you can develop a product for dry land, which 99% of the world is dry land farming, that could grow larger roots, deeper roots, and more roots, you would be able to take care of the stress factor. Stress is when disease comes in, just like us. Stress is when insects come in. And if you could get more roots, can take up more nutrition and water. Deeper roots go into an area that DNA makeup of that plant, sorghum, for example, will go deep versus right on the surface. So you need less water. Even if you're irrigating, you don't have to irrigate as much.
So, and JW, you and I were talking about that a little bit, about the difference you've noticed in your soil since using the product. How many years now?
8.
8 years. So the difference in your soil from when you started and the how rain and how the compaction of your soil and the health of your plants.
You bet. It in a lot of cases, the soils during heavy periods of rain or just from over tillage, you have a compaction issue in your soil. That's why minimum till is great. This is basically a great way to minimum till, because this product naturally aerates the soil, where it increases your water permeability. And when you'll notice once you start using it, once you get much bigger rains, you won't have near as much water runoff in the ditches, because this product will let it permeate deeper in the soil, which will help you through the next dry period, especially for the dryland farmers. It's basically creating a reservoir of water in the root zone and below, because these roots are already going deeper with the product. So you can get by on somewhat less rain to achieve same or higher yields in your crops.
And your plants actually healthier to be able to fight off pests
and disease. Yes,
and disease.
It raises your Brix levels in all your plants and pastures. In cotton, you have certain insects that bother you, especially when the cotton's young. It really helps tremendously on root rot in the soil that really gives a lot of the dryland farmers problems. I noticed it's really helped me on that, and root rot can just wipe out a few of your acres, which really hurts your average yield on the whole field, which when cotton is relatively low price like it is in 2020, we want to capture all the production we can to try to make ends meet on the budget. For
sure. So tell me a little bit about how your product works with your herd animals. Didn't you say that you have a product that works with for
feedlots?
For feedlots.
Well, the flyaway product is the one, and was designed originally to take care of the fly problem, which causes great reduction in weight gain in feedlot situation. And almost every breed from Angus to Santa Gertrudis have a different pounds per week gain. To give you an example, without promoting one of them's black. Yeah, they'll gain 3 to 4 pounds more per week, and they'll also hit the market 3 to 7 days quicker than normal, and that's huge when you have thousands of feedlot calves out there.
So
And the quality of the meat you have, the flies. They got to swish their tail, they got to move their head, they got to crunch up. All that's weight loss. It's energy loss.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, it's unhealthy. That's why it's kind of taken off in the chicken production, the poultry production, the hog production, and the cattle feedlot industry.
So all of that's scientifically calculated to energy loss per.
And it's real simple. It's a quart of the product every other week. That's sprayed on the feedlots. It can be sprayed on the feed, can be sprayed on the water, sprayed on the animal. It's all natural.
Feedlots are usually applied via crop duster planes because they're so vast.
Yes.
Chicken houses are usually applied through misters, and hogs also through the misters underneath the buildings themselves. And it's safe to if it gets in some water, their water troughs or their feed troughs, it's okay. It's all healthy. It's not going to hurt the chickens or the hogs or the steers in the feedlots.
I love it. So,
Can I back up to one?
Sure.
Because I didn't give you a full rate on. We developed the product that did do, grow more roots, larger roots, and deeper roots. The reason is real simple. How it happens. There's nothing great scientific. We change the charge of the salts that are in all soils to bounce off the root hairs and off the soil and flush it down 4 to 6 feet depending on the soil type. Gets away from the growing area. So when you eliminate the salt, the roots can naturally keep going because salt burns.
is that the enzymes or the microbials that make
It's both. It's both. Yeah.
Okay.
They make that. And as JW said, when the soil is open, that's one of the results of flushing the salt. The hard pan is taken care of.
And with the soil that is contaminated, you have what is it? The microbials that are kind of breaking down those.
Well, what the microbes do, any type of microbe, as far as soil microbes, they basically break down all the carbon source from the dead material, the stubble. That's why I like to apply it after harvest, after shredding, apply it to the land so that it breaks it down all year, reuses all that stubble as nutrients for next year. Instead of it dissipating up into the atmosphere, you've gone down fields and seen these little whirlwinds of leaves everywhere. Mm-hmm. That's what happens.
So it's creating its own.
You've lost that.
You're creating your own micro mulch.
Really, right. And as long as there's a carbon source to eat, they work. Unlike most microbial companies that are out there, our product goes dormant depending on the weather, and also goes dormant and not die if they don't have nothing to feed on.
Interesting. So it's dormant until you activate it into the soil.
All soils have something.
Okay.
They're going to eat on something. I just use that example as far as after shredding and disking it in, that the microbes work so actively to use that as a storage.
So this causes less of a need for tilling. Is that correct, for tillage?
In my case, it does. In most folks will find that out. Farmers will, as they use it, their tillage requirements will come down, which saves money for the farmer.
What percentage would you say?
Oh, I guess over 5 years, you could reduce your tillage 25 to 50%.
Wow, that's a significant savings.
You bet it is.
All right. Well, thank you so much, gentlemen.
Thank you.
And I'm excited to introduce your product to the oil and gas industry, to the agriculture industry. If you need to get in touch with you, we'll be having your information on our website. Thank you.
Thank you very much.